Anna Bellinghausen and Jacob Padilla here with you in Lincoln. We are 9 days away from Nebraska versus Pitt. And Jacob, we got another press conference in. Takeaways so far from that and just what the biggest message was today.
Yeah, a lot about the alumni match and the players, coaches, excited about that, getting to come back, some former teammates, some players they idolized growing up, get a chance to see Kelly Hunter Natter out there playing as opposed to just coaching. So I think the players are excited about that. But we got nine days left before they start. So this is essentially the final dress rehearsal for the team before they go out there and play for real. So starting to see maybe some decisions that have to be made on Saturday. We'll see some lineups that might be what we're actually going to see on Saturday, whereas so far in the preseason, they basically just kind of played everybody and rotated all around. So, it's getting to the point in the season where decisions have to be made, and we'll see what that looks like on Saturday.
Yeah, definitely something we're looking forward to in the alumni match. And I think what's most interesting is that this alumni team hasn't gotten really to practice together, but there's so much raw talent for them, obviously.
Yeah, they'll get 30 minutes together, I guess, pre-match to kind of hash things out. You've got Renee Saunders, Val Novak Warrior coaching the squad, 10 players signed up. So they got a full team there, and you got Olympians, pros. I think Kenzie Maloney's the only one that hasn't necessarily been playing professionally, but she's willing to get back out there to help the alumni. So should be a really good challenge. It'll be interesting, like you said. These players haven't played together, but they're really talented. Yeah. So what kind of challenge does that present for this team that's been practicing together? We'll see.
Yeah, and it'll be a normal format of a match too. So if it's a sweep one way or the other, that's just how it is.
Yeah. Danny's secretly hoping for at least 4 sets. I think some of the alumni are like, I really don't want this to go 5. But yeah, they're going to play it like real. Like I said, we might see some actual lineups. We'll see things get close. Who's going to be out there for the Huskers? Who are they going to stick with throughout the match? So I think there'll be a lot to learn on Saturday.
All right, let's listen in to more on the alumni match from the players and coaches.
Definitely really excited. We haven't really done anything like this specific format where it's alumni versus the Huskers, and it's really exciting. And I know it's a good chance for me to see a lot of my former teammates, former alums that you might stay connected with, but you don't get to see them all that often. So it's fun to get to see them. But just the playing is going to be really exciting. It's a really good roster, and I know I'm definitely nervous, but because we haven't practiced together or anything like that, we're going to do like a 30-minute little practice right before we play and see how that goes. But I don't feel that nervous, but I know when I walk out into Devaney, it'll feel like I'm an athlete again, and that's a little bit nerve-wracking, but mostly excited.
Are you going to look just like from a fashion standpoint? Are you going to look like you did?
Harper's favorite question. Probably not. Well, we're not wearing jerseys. We'll have T-shirts. So we had talked about everyone bringing back one of their old jerseys, but I'm sure some people don't even know where they're at or things like that. But we'll have T-shirts, and I'll probably wear leggings. But I will have knee pads on and shoes, obviously. So.
What's the process of this whole thing coming together?
It's really just a random idea we had in the spring. We were talking about what we could do in the fall and fill up our long preseason and things like that. So it was just a real short idea that we kind of just started asking around alumni who were still playing, would you be interested? And there was a lot of interest, and we didn't have a date picked out or all the details finalized. So it was really nice that everyone was super flexible and able to make things work. Like Callie was not sure what she would be doing for her professional preseason, and she kind of told us a couple weeks ago, I'm for sure in. And so it was really cool to see that people were willing to be flexible and make it work. And I think in the future it can be a really big, really fun event.
We were talking about doing one at Louisville. Then I got here. I'm like, we should definitely be able to do one here with how many players are playing. And we just decided if we could get 7 or 8 alumni that would be willing to play, that we would roll with it. So we got the first 7, and luckily we're able to add a few more, so the alumni aren't having to play the whole game. But we also want to make a really fun event, and Nebraska's got such great tradition to celebrate some of that during this time.
It's your team versus an Olympian, All-Americans. Who's going to win?
Who knows? I'll be curious. You'd like to think we are going to be quite a bit more organized, so we have an edge, but you can't count out Olympians, and like, even though some of these players, they might not have played in the last month, they just got off playing pro seasons and were playing at a really high level. So I'm expecting them to be pretty good on the other side.
Well, we got the first look of the Nebraska volleyball team at the red and white scrimmage. Jacob, you were there. What was your biggest takeaway on that?
I think the biggest takeaway is just they got a lot of really talented players. I don't know that we came out of that match with any answers really to the outstanding questions of position battles. At the libero, I mean, it looked neck and neck between Olivia Mauk and Lainey Choboy. They're both really, really talented. They each have their own unique strengths, but they're both improved in the area where the other is strong. And obviously opposite personalities, so it's probably going to come down to just what Danny Busby-Kelly thinks fits the team best and what they need. And then at the pins, we kind of saw some ups and downs, both from the outside. We know Harper Murray's going to be out there, but the second outside hitter spot, we saw some kind of highlights and some things to work on from all the other candidates. And the same thing at opposite hitter. We saw all three of them are new. Obviously, Ryan Hunter made her Devaney Center debut during the exhibition in the spring, but the other two played out here for the first time, and in Virginia Adriano and Ali Czech. So 3 different players, they all showed what they're capable of, but I don't know that anybody is running away with it at this point based on what we've seen.
Yeah, and I mean, when you look at the depth of this team, Danny also touched on that too, but I think the biggest takeaway was just the consistency that Danny mentioned with the team, and especially in serving, and just those little mistakes that maybe were uncharacteristic in that scrimmage.
Yeah, and she even mentioned, like, going back, they cleaned some of that stuff up in practice, so she's chalking some of that up to nerves. Still believes that will ultimately be a strength of this team.
Yeah. Well, let's hear more from the players and coaches on their takeaways from the scrimmage.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of things, and it's hard to really say what we really need to work on versus what was nerves and a little out of character. I thought just the last couple of days we played a lot cleaner, so I'm chalking some of that up to nerves. But definitely, we want to be one of the best serving and passing teams in the country. Nebraska always is. This team is no different. So we want to continue to fine-tune that, and that's a pretty big priority going into the first serve showcase. I think the setters have a lot of work to do. We're setting the middle great. I think our tempo needs to smoothen out a little bit, and we've got to get a little bit more consistent behind to our right sides and our slides. But you got to remember that red-white was a whole week earlier than it's ever been. So we've only been practicing for, we had 5 days of practice. So that'll come. And I'm not worried about that. The thing is, they are playing confident. We already talked about their well-rounded games. Campbell's improved a ton from a defensive standpoint. So a lot of those things that you can't really work on every day to get better at were great. It's the location and some of the tempo that we're going to continue to work on that'll just get better and better the more we play together and the more we settle into a lineup.
I would say my passing a little bit. I feel like that's something I've worked on a lot the past 2 years. I was really proud of my blocking. I think that's been something I put a lot of work into this spring season. So I would say other than blocking, just my passing, and that's something I feel like I can just always be more consistent with. I feel like I'm at the age where I might not be getting any better, but I need to be more consistent and be smarter and find ways to just improve. But I feel like my passing is something I just want to continue to work on.
And of course, with the coaching change to Danny Busby-Kelly, there also comes changes to the assistant coach's duties. Jacob, can you take us through that and what it's been looking like this season so far? Yeah,
just kind of shuffled some responsibilities where Kelly Hunter, obviously a setter by trade, was working with the setters pretty exclusively. Now Danny Busby-Kelly is much more hands-on with that position, and insofar as coaches do have specific positions, Kelly's working with the liberos and the defense there. So it's been a change for her, and it's one that she said she's kind of embraced and enjoyed finding the new challenges within that, even though she misses some of the stuff that she's used to working with. But she also said, like, hey, I can pop over there to the setters anytime they have the breakouts, anytime. Like, she can still be around them, still offer advice there. And that's just kind of how this staff is working, where on game day, yeah, you may have a specific responsibility that you're going to be watching, whether offense, defense, positionally. So they have things kind of locked up for in-game, and everybody knows where to go and who to be watching. But during the week, it's a collaborative performance where they all feel empowered to speak up and help at every position.
Okay, well, let's hear from Kelly Natter on those coaching changes and how she's handled everything so far.
It's definitely a big change because I feel like the two skills are very opposite. Like, let's say you went from middles to outsides, obviously you add passing and things, but it's been an adjustment. But Danny has been great, and anytime there's setters broken out, her and I are both over there. It's not like I can't talk to them anymore, and there's a really good feeling in the gym of everyone can coach everyone. And then once we get to games, maybe it's a little bit more, here's your position, offense, defense. But it's been an adjustment, and it's different for me watching different things. Obviously I was a setter, and I love the art of offense and decision making, and you really don't have that as much for your liberos. It's a lot more just defense and reading. So I like the creative parts of it, and we try and talk a lot about that rather than just, are we passing with this exact technique and are you in the exact right spot? We talk about reading and things like that, and that makes it really enjoyable, I think, for all of us.